most asked questions I get on my channel is regarding how I create power chords with various pedals for my Royal Blood covers, and that's using this one here, the Boss PS6 Harmonist. And this video is to describe how I use this and set it up for doing that sound. So the first thing to go through is the board, which features pedals that I don't tend to use anymore for live work. I put this board together because I need it for a few gigs where I need to travel portable, and also for Adept to use my sound for shows coming up in the near future. So just a quick run down through this. So we've got a Fender bass, Fender Jazz bass, American Deluxe, which is hot on the bridge pickup at the moment. That's going into the TU2, which of course tunes your bass and is also the mute for the signal. That's going into the Boss OC3 from a sub octave. And that in turn is going to the TC Electronic Dark Matter, which is just a bit of dirty bass if I need that. So and then that's run into the Sansamp over here, which is running via the DI to my interface. So that's the bass sound. That's coming out of the output of the TU2. From the bypass, that goes into the LS2, which is the mute switch for the guitar signal. So if I turn that on now, you can obviously hear we've got a higher octave sound. That's running into the Electro Harmonix POG 2, which is what's making it go up an octave. And then that in turn goes into the PS6, which then makes me my power chords. Cool. Then that runs into this hum eliminator here, and you need that when you're running 2 amps via the same audio signal. So from the one bass, if I'm running 2 amps, you use that to cancel out one of the grounds on one of the signals, so that you don't get these really annoying ground hums when you're trying to perform. So that's a quick rundown of the pedal board. Let's now go into how we use this for creating power chords. Okay, so here's a close-up of the PS6 on its current settings. So just so we can make this evident on camera, the first control is to do with the balance, and this is to do with how much of you've got the dry or the effects sound of the pedal in the mix. You've got the shift, which is to do with the harmony. Now this needs to be set to fifths because that's what a power chord consists of. It's the roots and the fifth note, so that's key for this thing to work. Then you've got this control here, which is to do with the key of what you've got the harmony set to. And this one's a really funny one, which we're going to find out about alongside the mode, which is currently set to minor, and sometimes can be switched to major, as again you'll find out as we go through this. So this is what it sounds like currently. Alright, so what we'll do, just to make things a bit more evident, we're going to mute the bass. So that's what we're left with. Let's just take this out of the mix so you can just hear the POG 2. And then with it in. Now, the thing to realise is it's never going to sound quite like a guitar chugging away on power chords. But as a thickness sort of thing for a live event where you might have a small trio band when the guitarist is going for a lead solo and you need something to fill in the hollowness of the band mix all of a sudden, it's a great sort of trick just to help beef the sound back up again. So as long as you can get around that, then you are pretty much laughing with using this sound. So let's just show you how this is all set up. So the balance is currently set to about 10 o'clock. If we take it all the way down, so that's just the dry signal, and then we bring it back up. So that's why I prefer to have that, but of course when you start putting it further up, you get more of the fifth note in there. Now I find it's just a little bit overpowering for the taste, because normally with that sort of power chord sound, it's a bit more of the bass sort of end of the chord that you hear, the more the root sound of it. So I find don't have it too high up, rather have it sort of just backed away a little bit. Like I said, it's a thickness sort of thing. So whereas of course if you whack it all the way up, so that's just the fifth. If we put it halfway, and I find just a little bit back. To my ears, just sounds a little bit better. So that's generally where I leave that one. Now, of course, this one, as I said, has to be set to fifths. On the control, it looks about 1 o'clock, which would be the correct way to put that. So that's kind of the two key things, and the things that you can just leave as once you're happy with them. So I kind of, like I said, have balance at 10 o'clock, and then the harmony set to a fifth, which is about 1 o'clock on here. Okay, so the fun and games now begins with the key controls and which mode you have for major and minor. So at the moment it's set to the key of G major, and you know, it works pretty well if you're just playing your standard sort of rock pop stuff. So say if we play a song with a 1-5-6-4 progression. You know, it sounds alright like that. Let's turn the bass back off. But what you'll find is when you start changing keys, and often on a gig, you will forget about this key control in the spur of the moment as if something suddenly changes. So let's just pick the key of D for the moment. Let's just see what that sounds like. So the same thing, do a 1-5-6-4. Let's try F. So this shows off something that is a slight pain when it comes up. So what happens when you're playing just F natural in the key of G major, it produces a flat 5 note instead of a 5th note. So not necessarily desirable. Again, if you're doing certain songs where, let's say we'll take 1-5-6-4. Pick a well, flat key. Let's choose A flat. Let's just play it chromatically. Just so key of G. So obviously you've got G, choose root, minor second, A flat, major second, A, minor third, B flat, major third, B, fourth is C, flat 5 is C sharp, D is 5, minor 6 is E flat, E is 6, there we go, now the 7th, so minor 7th is F, F sharp, major 7th, kind of creates the same effect, and I think that's generally the thing I find, it's if you ever need to play a 7th in a song, or of course like I said, if you forget to change the key, that's when that annoyance will happen. Let's just change keys. Let's say we switch it over to, I'll put it in the key of C, so all the way over. Spur of the moment, we're going to play G. Alright, we're okay there. The key of A. That's okay. So sometimes it doesn't occur to be an issue. Key of E? Oh, there we go. And it's that. It's all to do with that 7th again. So whether it's a minor 7th or a major 7th, you've got certain songs with certain riffs which really lean on sort of the more Mixolydian sort of sound. So that's where you got more of a flat 7th going on. So say if we took say we go back to G again. Like if you're playing something like You Really Got Me. You would need to put that in the key of G Mixolydian, which would be mode 5, which should be C. Hear that? And then it works fine, providing you've changed the setting. And this is kind of the downfall with the pedal and doing that sound. If you do need to suddenly change a song in a set, or if you forget about it, then you will get that sort of issue of flat 5 notes instead of 5. So you just got to watch out for that when you're using it. As I said at the beginning of the video, these are all pedals I don't tend to use anymore, and that's mainly because I've gone over to a rack system, and within the rack, instead of having the PS6 and the POG 2, these days I'm rocking an Electro Harmonix Hog 2, and what's really cool with that is it's got kind of both these features all in one, so it does the octave thing and the fifth thing, and it plays it perfectly every time. Rather than it being in a major or minor mode, it's just in a sort of chromatic sort of state of thinking. So you could argue, why don't you just switch the mode to pitch shifter? The reason I don't put it on pitch shifter is because I find the sound isn't as solid sounding. It's something funny about the tracking making it more wobbly. So let's just put it on that. And you've got to change this to 2 o'clock to get it onto fifths. So if I just play a C note, can you hear how that wobbles a bit more? There's kind of sort of a bit of a glitchy thing going on. Now if I switch it back to major, move that back as well, it's a much more sort of solid sound, you know, and that's kind of the reason why you want to do this. You want something to just be power, you know, as the name of the chord suggests. And yeah, it sounds much better than that. Oh. There we go. Obviously don't get that problem with the sevenths, but I don't know, it just doesn't sound as good. Until you get to there. So yeah, that's the thing with this pedal. You've got to always kind of think about the songs you're playing and what key you're going to be in to play certain things. And you know, spur of the moment when you might need to change to a different song, or if you just forget about the key thing, it's not ideal, unfortunately. So like I said, these days I don't tend to use these two anymore. I tend to be rocking a Electro Harmonix Hog 2 instead, which has both the modes on board. So you've got all the octaves plus the fifth notes, and it's got major thirds as well. Something I've not really tried myself, but and also it's all MIDI switchable these days, which is so handy with the rack sort of system, because all these pedals then stay at the back and I don't have to worry about them, and everything's preset as well. So so that's pretty much the reason why I don't use these. But regardless, hopefully that's a good explanation of how this pedal works and how you can use it for your sound. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like me to do. If there's any of the new Raw Blood stuff you want me to have a go at covering, let me know that as well. Otherwise, enjoy your evening or day and keep on rocking in the free world. Just like that.